So now to tomorrow's State of the Union address. President Biden is set to deliver this primetime address that's his first since Republicans took back the House last month. So Washington has changed. His presidency has changed because the other party's now in power. He's not wasting any time, President Biden. There you see, he tweeted out a photo earlier today, getting ready, he said. I bet he is. The president's expected to tout policy wins, really legislative accomplishments that he's had over the past couple of years on infrastructure, green energy, and other things, but he's still in trouble with a lot of Americans. Take a look at this number. Our new ABC News Washington Post poll shows 41% of Americans think they are worse off financially since Biden took office in 2021. That's trouble for any president. For more, let's bring in ABC News Political Director Rick Klein on this. You know, Rick, talk about how Biden comes to this address. Those poll numbers not great, but the economy, you know, stable in some ways looking good, and what he wants to do with this moment.
Terry, it's a moment for reset around his presidency and for a soft launch around his presidential campaign, which we expect an re-election announcement in the coming weeks or maybe even months. Bottom line for President Biden is that they're aware of these numbers, but they view their role, the White House role, to try to turn around these perceptions right now and focus on the wins that they've had legislatively that feed into the economic message, to make a case that maybe people don't feel it right now, but things were poised to get a lot better for them economically. And those contradictions in terms of the economic numbers that we've seen, the realities of the economy, are so key to President Biden's electoral success. We're going to hear a lot also about the contrast. The White House not going to be content to just talk about what they want to do, but they want to square up and prepare the American people for the reality of divided government and what Republicans are saying they will do around the economy and the debt ceiling battle ahead.
And those are the crucial issues, obviously, for Americans. The economy, that 41% say they're worse off. That's critical. But foreign policy, it was just a year ago, about the time that the president delivered a State of the Union address last year, that Russia invaded Ukraine. And just this week, we have this Chinese surveillance spy balloon over the United States. It seems to me the president won the argument over Ukraine and how he's handling it with American voters. That's what polls show. It remains to be seen what this balloon is going to do, if anything, to his support. But how much does that matter, do you think? These the supporting Ukraine and standing off against China. How big is foreign policy for him?
Yeah, prepare your metaphors and blocks of metaphors around anything popping over a State of the Union address, because right now the president's draft obviously will change to reflect the latest news. But in the White House's view, this reinforces that the president has taken the right kind of measured approach to foreign policy. They're tuning out some of the Republican critics who say you should have shot it down earlier, and they dismiss as nonsense the suggestion that it would never have happened under a President Trump. It's an unknowable proposition. And on Ukraine, I think you're largely right, and our poll bears this out. The plurality of Americans who feel like we're doing about the right amount in terms of assisting Ukraine, but you are seeing increasing skepticism among those who think maybe we're doing a little too much. And the president's going to be asking Congress for a big new check. We know that Republicans are divided among themselves as to how they approach that. And as much as the president can declare victory on his approach, and it's been a lot better year than I think either the United States or the Ukrainians could have hoped, the realization that this is going to be a very, very long haul and an expensive haul is something that I know the president wants to hammer home tomorrow night.
Right. Success on the battlefield, of course, due to the courage and skill of Ukrainians. But Biden has been Biden, the United States, backing them all the way. And let's go back to that poll, that really stunning 41% of Americans say they are worse off financially. But Biden supporters say that he's been a very consequential president. It just hasn't been felt yet. If you talk to business leaders, government leaders around the world, that green energy package, they say, is rebooting the American economy for the coming decades. That the United States, its support of semiconductor and high-tech manufacturing, that bill kind of leapfrogged Europe as well. Americans aren't feeling it right now. How does he make the case that he is successful?
Yeah, Terry, I think you're going to hear some hyping and some touting of the accomplishments, many of them bipartisan accomplishments of the last 2 years, and making the point that those bills were designed to kick in these next 2 or 4 or 6 or even 10 or more years. And of course, the second half of Biden's first term is going to be defined now by divided Washington, which means you're not going to get anything nearly as major on the legislative front as he was able to achieve in the first 2 years. But those wheels are already in motion. A lot of the money is starting to go out the door. People are going to feel the changes in their lives as they see those shovels hit the grounds and they see these projects that actually improve people's lives, maybe even redefine the relationship that Americans have with their government. That's the vision, but of course, getting that across to a skeptical and weary American public is something else.
And those wheels have to turn. He's cutting ribbons. It depends on when the jobs come, when that money starts flowing into communities. Rick Klein, as always, thanks very much.
Thanks, Terry.
And we will have full coverage of President Biden's State of the Union address starting at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, right here on ABC News Live.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.